definitely. Very close. Almost he was about to say about my topic, and I said, please no. That's what I'm going to talk about. But very close. And so while that is warm, okay, while that was warm, it's still warm, okay, and it's burning, I hope, I'll take advantage and talk about it more, okay. So let's then get a little bit of time, just a few seconds or a moment to set our motivation. And just make sure that the motivation is clear. The intention and the wish and aspiration you may have while you're here today, particularly right this minute. Make sure that it's set. All right, very good. So, we open up our prayers, not like this, it's upside down. Okay. And of course, this moment, the Dharma moment, we always owe this to the Buddha. Okay. So we take refuge. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, and to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of practicing giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, and to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of practicing giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. And may they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every offering, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all my destructive actions, accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate all the virtues of myself and others to the great awakening. Very good. So anybody who was here last time, you may have remembered our last topic. What was our topic last? About renunciation. We're clear about that, right? Or not really clear because you're not renounced yet. Which is very, very, it's natural at this state, okay, at this stage of our practice. Those qualities, of course, for the Buddha Dharma practice, the essence of renunciation is quite important and delicate, because how can you practice bodhicitta? Okay, how can you think of others when all you do is 90% you? okay, let's say 91% is you or me. The me, the I. So we need to, we expounded a little bit about what renunciation is, right? So we will now start. Obviously, this is the stages, and what Rinpoche was clearly defining, what is a Buddha? And then I said, wow, my class knows what's Buddhism, but I don't think I have clearly managed to say, what is Buddha? But I have. It is the awakening, right? The awakened mind, the realization of the mind. But then he asked another question. And he said, what are we trying to be awakened, right? And I was hoping one of you would raise the hand. And I'm sure you know the answer. But again, there's so much self with you that you don't want to be exposed, right? And you say, boy, my reputation, if I make mistake, Rakita will be eyeing on me. That's another full of self, but I think you know what the answer, right? What I was hoping one can answer is, when Rinpoche was asking, what would you wish, to be awakened with or of? And I was waiting for you to say, to be awakened of my delusion, of my confusion. Remember? I always use this delusion word, the term confusion. I'm confused between right and wrong. I'm confused between white and black. We can only see one thing, but not the other. And when we're confused, that means that we react. And majority, when we react, it is always something we're attached to. And when we're so attached to something, what happens? We're so angry when that's taken away from us. Nothing happened. I still have the voice. There's a strong gravity right in my center. Okay, we won't break it, right? Okay, all right. I don't think so. Oh, you're so smart. Thank you. Yes. Rachel? Rachel. All right, so when we are in the process of renunciation, we're trying to renounce, right? So then we talk about, well, how do we do this, Rakita? How can we put this together? Because it's so complicated. First of all, if I look at the mirror, just looking at myself is already complex. Where am I going to start? Right? So then I said, all right, then we need to start at the fundamental, at the basis of everything in practice. And that is the ordinary preliminary, the training in the preliminaries. When a Buddhist, actually, this is the requirement, as Buddha stated in the sutras. These are the steps. These is definitely the steps on how we recognize what is renunciation. And then when we realize that, then we can then begin to practice, to think of others, which is the altruistic mind, the developing about, thinking about my neighbors, while I'm mowing my lawn, right? Remember? Who has the lawn that actually there's no fence and it's a straight lawn and all you see is like, okay, from that tree to this tree is mine, but the other side is the neighbor's. And when you lawn, right? When you make the lawn, you're really even. Right after, you define even what is yours and what is not yours. And maybe at some stage of your practice, you will then begin to mow a little bit your neighbor's grass. And then little by little until later on you recognize, I will do this for him or for her. And then later on, it's like, wow, I'm doing it naturally now. I don't even wait for my neighbor to say thank you to me. Then that is bodhicitta. You've done it. That is bodhicitta. Okay? But right now, we still clearly know what is mine and what is others. So we're going to talk about the preliminary. And in this stage, we have talked about, being human. All right? So there are 4, right? What are the 4 foundations? Remember, we even counted 1, 2, 3, and 4. In order for us to practice these preliminaries, there are 4 parts of it. One is, we need to know, the preciousness of human rebirth. Do we know about those qualities of how precious it is? Are we familiar with those? Well, I'm guessing maybe you would say, well, I'm special. Like every child that is born is so special because it's my child, but another child somewhere is not quite that special. But I guess those are the kind of qualities that we only see, right? But no, there is more to that. This is very important because without knowing and really solidly know the 4 foundations, it is very difficult to understand what a cloud, like Rinpoche is saying, like cloud, dark cloud, light cloud, and the sun. If we don't even have any clue what is, this little qualities that we have to have, then it's quite special if you know it. All right? So what is it? First is the perfect human rebirth, right? The impermanence and death. Okay? The law of karma and the misery of samsara. Okay? This is not the 4 Noble Truths. That will come later. All right? This is just, if we know this and you can grasp it, this is basically the reason why you will renounce. You will renounce the worldly concerns. Then you will realize that this is the nature of reality. It's profound. It's profound. Yeah? Okay, so let's talk about the perfect human rebirth. Remember when I told you last week about there must be, about 16 qualities or 18 qualities It's actually 18 qualities, yeah? To have these 18 qualities as a human being, you have to have 18 qualities of this to even practice the Dharma. So if you only have 16 and you're missing 2, it is difficult for you to encounter the Dharma. Okay? So now, is it getting a little bit, like, wow, I want to know this. Do I have these qualities? Are my circumstances and my current life have those? What do you do when you don't have some of it? That means you're going to work hard. Remember? Condition. If you condition and you plan, you can change things. You can make things happen. But if we don't know these things, then we're just going to be like, la 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 la, you'll be in la la land all life long. Right? Okay. So let's talk about perfect human rebirth. I know Albert is like pointing on his paper. You have a question later? Hold on to that, okay? So let's talk first about the 4. Do you remember there's 4 foundations? We're going to talk first about the human rebirth. This is very important because after you know this, you meet every human being, human, okay? And you look at them